So why did he do it? Why did he decide to bomb Iran? Because we all know that his stated reasons for doing so are bullshit. I mean, it's a lie. But that's what sociopathic, pathological liars do. They lie. And why anyone would take this man at his word for anything, especially something as big as this, is beyond me. But there are people out there taking his word for it as to why we attacked Iran. But he's clearly lying. I mean, there's any number of reasons. I played for you on my last video a clip of Pete Hegseth had a press conference following this attack. And it was very, very clear. He got a question about this. I mean, what changed? It wasn't that long ago that U.S. intelligence said that Iran was not close to attaining a nuclear weapon, because that's the stated reason, right? Oh, we had to go in there because their acquisition of a nuclear weapon was imminent. Like, they were within days of having this. And so we had no choice. There was no time to do anything else, no time for diplomacy, no time to go to Congress and get authorization. This had to be done now. And so Hegseth was asked, what changed? I mean, the director of national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, just testified under oath to Congress not long ago saying that they weren't anywhere close to attaining a nuclear weapon. So what changed? And it was clear from his answer that there was no intelligence. They specifically asked him, what does the intelligence say? Is it U.S. intelligence that said they are now close to a nuclear weapon, or was it foreign intelligence? And it was clear from Hegseth's response that they have no intelligence whatsoever stating that they're close to a nuclear weapon. On top of that, many members of Congress who have been briefed over the last few preceding months about this said this is all a lie. They weren't close. That was just the pretext. So we know this is a lie. And what we should be talking about as an aside here, I know we're not going to seriously talk about this because of the nature of the current state of our politics, but we should be talking about impeaching and removing him from office and prosecuting him if possible, although that's, nearly impossible thanks to the Supreme Court. But we can certainly impeach and remove him from office. That's what we should be talking about, since this man just lied. Anyway, what are his real reasons? If his stated reasons are obvious bullshit, what are his real reasons? Because it has to be something else, right? There has to be some other reason he decided to do this. Well, the New York Times has some reporting on this. I just want to read a little bit of this to you and tell me if this doesn't make perfect sense, if you can completely believe that this is at least part of the reason that Donald Trump made this decision. Mr. Trump had spent the early months of his administration warning Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel against a strike on Iran. But by the morning of Friday, June 13th, hours after the first Israeli attacks, Mr. Trump had changed his tune. He marveled to advisors about what he said was a brilliant Israeli military operation, which involved a series of precision strikes that killed key figures in Iran's military leadership and blasted away strategic weapons sites. Mr. Trump took calls on his cell phone from reporters and began hailing the operation as excellent and very successful, hinting that he had much more to do with it than people realized. And we saw this. He was trying to take credit for the Israeli airstrikes because nobody else can get attention. No, he has to get the attention, especially if, they're getting good press, right? Later that day, Mr. Trump asked an ally how the Israeli strikes were playing. He said that everyone was telling him he needed to get more involved, including potentially dropping 30,000-pound bombs on Fordo, the Iranian uranium enrichment facility buried underneath a mountain south of Tehran. Political advisors to Mr. Trump had been swapping notes on various public and private polls, examining the popularity of military action against Iran, noting that American support for an operation depended in part on how pollsters asked the question. While polls showed that an overwhelming majority of Americans did not want the United States to go to war with Iran, most Americans also did not want Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. Now check this out. The president was closely monitoring Fox News, which was airing wall-to-wall praise of Israel's military operation and featuring guests urging Mr. Trump to get more involved. Several Trump advisors lamented the fact that Tucker Carlson, was no longer on Fox, which meant that Mr. Trump was not hearing much of the other side of the debate. So it seems like the orange buffoon decided, because he changed his tune on a dime about these Iran attacks. He changed his mind because he saw that Israel's attacks on Iran were playing well on Fox News. The Fox News audience was eating it up. And so Donald Trump wanted to get in on some of that action. He can't have positive things being reported on Fox News if he's not taking credit for it. That's why he tried, when these strikes first started, these Israeli strikes first started, he tried to take credit for them when he saw that they were playing well on Fox. But that wasn't good enough. He had to be more directly involved so he can so he can take more credit for it. Because nobody was buying that we had anything to do with it, so he wasn't really getting the credit. But he wanted that credit. He already knew this would go over well with the Fox News audience, and I want to be the center of attention. So is that why Donald Trump attacked Iran, engaged in a flagrant act of war in violation of the Constitution and a statute passed by Congress, in avoiding Congress altogether, and then lying to the American people about the reasons? Because he can't come out and say, hey, I saw it was playing well on Fox News and, I wanted the good press. I wanted to be the center of attention on Fox News. Can't say that. So I had to make up some bullshit. Even though his director of national intelligence said that they were not close to obtaining a nuclear weapon, that's what he decided to say. We had to go in, and there was no time to go to Congress, as the Constitution and the laws require. They were just days, if not hours away from having a nuclear weapon, and we had to act in our own national self-defense. What do you think? Lie, right? Damn right it's a lie. This makes a lot more sense, don't you think? Anyway, thanks for watching. Talk to you again soon.